Welcome back, everybody. Today, I just wanted to talk about one of the things that I've seen a lot of people, especially after I've given a little bit of advice when it comes to this specific gameplay trick or tech when it comes to the game. I've seen a lot of people kind of struggle with this specific idea or this shop. So I'm going to kind of go through everything you need to know about this and why you should not be getting scammed by this and how you can use it meaningfully while again, not getting taken advantage of. So first and foremost, if you're not familiar with what this is the Iron Hoof Forge. And of course, all you have to do is talk to this guy and you can make purchases of gear alongside your gold, depending on what you need or what upgrades are from the menu, as you can see here. So if you couldn't tell, there are a variety of upgrades that I could definitely get, either the helmets, the weapons, anything in between, which is nice in theory. But then when you actually take into consideration the cost of upgrading certain things in the game, you'll come to very easily realize that a lot of these are scam. Now you may be asking yourself, Connor, what do you mean it's a scam? I mean, have you seen how much gold I get? It's 30,000 gold per hour. Like, does that really matter to you? And the answer is, guys, I am begging you, I'm pleading for you to pay attention. Yes, the amount of gold that you spend on here really does make a difference. Now, unlike some of the other shops in the game, purchasing more does not unlock anything as opposed to just upgrading your total resonance level. And of course, as you see here, you have a decent amount of value from some of these pieces of gear. Of course, the stat line fluctuates a little bit in terms of increases of value, but overall, you may be tempted to see the green little arrows here and purchase. But even though I can afford them, as you can see, I only got 1.4 million. Now, the reason why my total gold count right now is what it is and why I'm even bringing it up, it kind of sounds like I could buy a couple of pieces of these, but the reason why these are not actually as good as you think they are is because there are plenty of rewards that you get either from Dream Realm or from other pieces of content, either beating a boss or, you know, like a treasure, etc. But otherwise, you're kind of wasting or neglecting a lot of your gold by spending it on these pieces of gear. Now, again, I haven't exactly specified why you kind of find this infinite loop of garbage, but long story short, if you end up having a piece of gear that you have to pay 700,000 gold for, and then you end up recycling it the second that you start finding something that's slightly better, you can kind of tell where the gold economy drought or the gold sink starts to arrive from. Formerly in other games, it's through repair costs, it's through arbitrary upgrades like unequipped costs. But in this case, you could tell that, again, although if you do have something like a 40, 50, or even a double green upgrade to a piece of gear, it is certainly worth considering. If you either have a singular arrow or no arrow at all, it just simply does not make sense for you to be leveling up all these characters, especially when you can just clear through random content and get gear that could definitely be used on, again, your soul weavers, your knights, your warriors, etc. It doesn't matter what it is. You can kind of, oh, I said soul weavers, supports, tanks. In any case, you could find a lot of these pieces of gear or find upgrades without having to spend 700,000 gold to do so. Now, for reference, I am going to kind of just go through my equipment and kind of show you what I have. I could upgrade some of these pieces of gear, but like I said, if I have to reforge it for 34,000 and I also have to use some of these currencies that I would rather use on other global characters to that extent. But just in general, you can see how valuable gold is because, again, every single piece of gear that I could potentially upgrade, whether it's the hat or it's the boot. But to kind of segue things over, again, in terms of actual value for gear, you could tell that if I were to, for instance, forge this piece of gear here, not only do I gain additional stats like the crit, the HP, etc., I do end up gaining about 3,000-ish combat points through the purchase. But if you were to do that here, not only would it cost you much more, you may save yourself not needing to get the additional upgraded material to do so. But in terms of gold, especially when gold, again, is used for extra tries, you need to upgrade your characters, you need to upgrade your gear or anything like that. It feels like gold is the last resource that you should mess with, especially when, again, you see all the differently highly priced pieces of gear here. Now, again, just for context, in case you were curious about just how much gold is being used in other aspects of the game, if you take a look right here, you actually end up having a 10,000 gold cost every single level when it comes to upgrading a character at level 110 at the very minimum. So obviously you could tell why gold is very important, because even if I wanted to get a character like Rowan from 110 to 120, that's 100,000 gold. And if you spread that across 5 characters, that's 500,000 gold that is dedicated specifically just to upgrading the characters up to a similar level to each other. Now, if we're taking into consideration artifacts, which again, I've kind of moaned and groaned about a couple times at this point. These are the big heavy hitters because each upgrade or each level of this upgrade is about 250,000 gold from when I was able to do it prior. But now you can see you have to be Resonance level 140 in order to see the next tier. But you can't just get to Resonance level 140 and kind of just sing Kumbaya. You basically have to save up gold prior to that to actually have it make sense. And ultimately, the only way for you to do that is to save up gold and not spend it on something like the smithing table. Now again, the forge is definitely extremely helpful, especially if you put things off to the side, because otherwise you'd have to do constant upgrades depending on like what level or what you're upgrading pieces of gear from, if you're going from like 50 to 130, etc. But like I mentioned, unlike Keith's store or some other aspects of the game where it feels like there's a little bit more value, or it feels like you're buying things to unlock new things, that isn't really quite the case for Ironhoof Forge, which is unfortunate. And rather, instead, what I need to be doing actually is including or clearing out the story so I have more access to additional things to clear or buy. Now, another thing that I do want to kind of mention in terms of not getting scammed is that when I made my Dream Realm video, I did kind of mention how like Odie and maybe having Kruger would be really nice together, but something that I did not consider is that the skills behind Odie are magic, which is why it feels then like Odie is kind of just like a solo carry that's trying to do damage by himself. That being said though, that was still the composition, or one of the compositions that I found the best work with. However, of course, the value of this kind of goes down, especially because Skyclops summons a number of enemies, which kind of reduces this. And again, if you needed any more proof that gold was super valuable and you should not get scammed by buying stuff from the Blacksmith Forge, look no further than the fact that after a singular battle, it starts ramping up in cost. It goes 0 cost to now 10,000, 10,000, 25, 50, etc. And that is absolutely ridiculous in terms of how much gold I've wasted because I wanted to be within like a certain top bracket. But that is what it is. That's not your problem. And now, if it wasn't already incentivized through the number of factors that I kind of addressed and considered with what I had mentioned before, I do want to make mention that, again, part of the reason why gold is super important, or levels for your characters are super important, is not just because they need the additional power to clear, which is like duh, obvious, but some of these characters actually have different effects when you hit certain levels. I know for a fact that if you have a character like Coco, she gains access to CC immunity, CC cleanse, I should say, but that alone is already insane value and part of the reason why I'm kind of looking to kind of improve my characters all around the board. Long story short though, if you want to get access to these things, or if you want to kind of not put yourself in a pickle, you need to save gold. Gold is equally as useful, I would say, as something like diamond, because both are kind of valuable resources. But in any case, guys, that's kind of everything that you need to know about the newest, not really scam thing or scam shop, but things that you should definitely keep in mind when you're trying to take advantage of certain activities, or kind of get ahead through certain unknown activities or unknown shops that you otherwise would gain value from. Now, of course, at the end of it all, in terms of theme and why gold is important, well, you could see it. You need gold for pretty much everything in the game, whether it's upgrading, taking care of certain characters' levels, etc., entering more trials. When it comes to the Dream Realm, there's no reason for you to get rid of your gold. Don't treat it as a random willy-nilly kind of thing. But that's gonna be it for this video though, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. If you did, make sure to like, comment, turn the notification bell, and subscribe. Thank you again for everyone for watching. If you enjoy more AFK Journey videos like this, feel free to let me know. It really helps me out. It gives me a lot of context. But again, thank you again to AFK Journey for sponsoring me. I sincerely have been having a lot more fun than I thought I would be. But yeah, great times, great memories. I'm trying to get to rank 10 or something. If you want to check out my video or anything like that, that's totally fine too. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it. I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a great rest of your evenings or mornings, whatever it is. Good night.